Have you ever had a dream that felt more real than your waking life? A dream so vivid and loaded with meaning that it just stayed with you for days, like a strange, beautiful echo in the back of your mind. Or maybe you felt something different but just as weird, the sense that you're playing a role, reading lines in a play you never auditioned for. You wear a mask for your job, for your family, for your friends, and it fits so well. But underneath it all, a deeper, truer self is waiting, unheard and unseen. What if these feelings, these visions in the night and dissatisfactions during the day aren't just random noise? What if they're signals? What if they're messages from the oldest part of your mind, a part of you that remembers the dawn of humanity? Carl Jung, a trailblazing Swiss psychiatrist and one of the most influential thinkers of the 20th century, believed exactly that. He suggested that deep inside each of us is a secret, inner world, a vast, mysterious landscape of the soul. And he believed our dreams are the maps to this hidden territory. Jung taught that by learning to read these maps, by understanding the strange symbols of our own psyche, we could start the greatest adventure of all, the journey to find out who we were truly meant to be. Today, we aren't just talking about psychology. We're going to break down Jung's profound ideas so you can use them in your own life, so you can face self-doubt, unlock your creativity, and begin the sacred process of becoming whole. To really get what made Carl Jung's ideas so radical, we have to understand the world he was born into and the intellectual giant he dared to challenge. Sigmund Freud, born in Switzerland in 1875, Jung's childhood was a strange mix. On one hand, there was the strict, traditional Christianity from his father, who was a pastor. On the other, there was a deep, almost mystical connection to the spiritual and unseen from his mother. This early exposure to two worlds, the rational, ordered world of the day and the mysterious, symbolic world of the night, would become a central theme of his life's work. As a young psychiatrist, Jung was a devoted follower of Freud, the father of psychoanalysis. Freud had turned psychology upside down by proposing that our conscious minds are just the tip of the iceberg. He argued a vast, unconscious mind, filled with repressed desires and childhood trauma, was the real driver of our behavior. For a while, Jung was Freud's chosen heir, the crown prince of the psychoanalytic movement. But a deep disagreement started to grow between them, a split that would eventually become bitter and permanent. For Freud, the unconscious was mostly personal. It was like a basement in your mind where you store everything you can't deal with. Forbidden desires, aggressive impulses, painful memories. It was just a collection of one person's life experiences. But Jung, through his work with patients and his deep study of myths, religions, and alchemy from all over the world, started to think that the basement had a sub-basement. He noticed his patients in Zurich had dreams and fantasies filled with symbols and themes identical to those in ancient myths from cultures they'd never even heard of. A patient might dream of a hero fighting a dragon, a great flood, or a wise old man giving cryptic advice, themes that have shown up in human stories for thousands of years. How could that be? The answer Jung came up with was revolutionary. He argued that beneath our personal unconscious, there's a deeper, older layer he called the asterisk collective unconscious. This isn't your personal junk drawer of memories. It's a shared, inherited psychic foundation common to all of us. Think of it like a kind of psychological DNA. Just as we inherit physical traits, Jung believed we inherit a blueprint of psychological patterns and instincts forged over millions of years. This is why, for example, so many ancient cultures have flood myths, or why the story of a hero's journey appears in countless forms all over the globe. These aren't just learned stories, they're echoes of a shared psychic structure. He once wrote, "The dream is a little hidden door in the innermost and most secret recesses of the soul, opening into that cosmic night which was psyche long before there was any ego consciousness." This idea shattered the Freudian model. It suggested our minds aren't just shaped by our personal lives, but are also plugged into the entire epic of human history. This disagreement that the unconscious wasn't just a personal cellar of repressed desires, but a vast library of ancestral wisdom, led to Jung's final break from Freud in 1913. Cast out from the mainstream psychoanalytic world, Jung entered a time of intense inner turmoil. He called it his confrontation with the unconscious. He turned his scientific eye inward, carefully recording his own dreams and visions, and from this dangerous journey into his own soul, the core of his life's work, which he called analytical psychology, was born. He wasn't just a theorist, he was an explorer, and the continent he was charting was the human soul. If the collective unconscious is the ancient stage of the human mind, then who are the actors? Jung called them the archetypes. Archetypes are the universal built-in patterns or model images that live in the collective unconscious. They are the original characters, situations, and symbols that shape how we see the world and ourselves. They aren't specific memories, but more like what Jung called forms or images of a collective nature which occur practically all over the earth. Think of them as the original blueprints for our most basic human experiences. We're all born with a built-in concept of mother, hero, trickster, or god. These archetypes are then fleshed out by our own lives. For instance, the mother archetype holds the potential for nurturing and unconditional love, but also for smothering control. Your personal experience with your own mother will decide which parts of this universal archetype become most active in your mind, creating what Jung called a mother complex. These archetypal patterns are everywhere, from ancient myths to modern movies and our own dreams. The reason we love stories like Star Wars or The Lord of the Rings is because they're built on these powerful, universal archetypes. The hero, Luke Skywalker, Frodo Baggins; the wise old man, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Gandalf; the shadow, Darth Vader, Gollum; and the quest itself. We connect with these stories so deeply because, on a subconscious level, we recognize the characters. They're part of us. Let's meet some of the most important archetypes playing a role in our lives. First, there's the persona. Persona is Latin for mask, and that's exactly what this is. The social mask we wear to get by in the world. It's the version of ourselves we show at work, with friends, in public. The persona isn't a bad thing. It's a tool we need for social interaction. The problem comes when we start to believe we are the mask. The CEO who can't stop being a CEO at home, the nice guy who can never show anger. These are people who have mistaken their mask for their real face. This leads to feeling like a fraud in your own life, because your true self is being ignored. As Jung warned, a key goal of self-discovery is to divest the self of the false wrappings of the persona. If the persona is the face we show the world, its opposite is the shadow. The shadow is probably Jung's most famous and misunderstood idea. It's the dark side of our personality, where we stash all the parts of ourselves we've repressed or disowned. It's everything we think is inferior, shameful, or unacceptable. The poet Robert Bly described this perfectly. As kids, we have a 360-degree personality. But when our parents or society disapprove of parts of us, our anger, our wildness, our sadness, we put those parts in an invisible bag we drag behind us to keep their love. That bag is the shadow. The shadow can hold negative traits like greed, prejudice, and aggression, but it's not purely evil. It can also contain positive qualities we've repressed, what Jung called the golden shadow. Maybe as a kid you were told that being ambitious was selfish, or that being artistic was a waste of time, so you pushed those parts of yourself into your shadow. Now, you might get irrationally annoyed by successful people, or feel a deep admiration for artists. Jung said these strong reactions are often projections of our own disowned shadow. What annoys us in others can be a mirror to a part of ourselves we refuse to see. Jung believes that facing the shadow is the first essential step toward becoming whole. He famously said, "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is." If we ignore the shadow, it doesn't vanish. It gains its own power, messing up our plans and getting projected onto others. We see the evil we deny in ourselves, in our enemies, in other political parties, or in other nations. This is the root of so much prejudice and conflict. The point of shadow work isn't to get rid of the shadow, that's impossible, but to become aware of it, acknowledge it, and integrate its energy in a positive way. This is the tough, courageous work of becoming whole. Beyond the persona and the shadow, Jung identified another critical pair of archetypes that shape our relationships with the collective unconscious and each other: the asterisk anima and the asterisk anima. These represent the idea of conscious sexuality. The anima is the unconscious feminine side of a man, and the animus is the unconscious masculine side of a woman. Jung saw that every person has qualities of the opposite gender, not just biologically, but psychologically. Society, though, often pushes us into rigid gender roles. A man is taught to be rational and assertive, what the Greeks called logos, while suppressing his feelings and intuition, eros. A woman is often encouraged to be nurturing and emotional, eros, while repressing her ability to be assertive and logical, logos. This repressed half doesn't go away. It forms a complex, often independent personality in the unconscious. The asterisk animask is a man's inner woman. She is the archetype of life itself, representing his capacity for feeling, his connection to nature, and his ability to form deep relationships. In his dreams, she might appear as a mysterious, alluring woman or a mystical guide. A man often first meets his anima through projection. He falls head over heels in love because a woman becomes the perfect screen for him to project his own unconscious soul image onto. He isn't seeing the real woman, but the goddess inside himself. This is the intoxicating and often tricky nature of infatuation. Jung described 4 stages of anima development, showing a man's growing ability to connect with his own soul. 1. Esk. Named after the biblical figure, this stage is purely instinctual. The anima is an object of desire and a source of physical nourishment. 2. Helen, Hasgrumb. Named for Helen of Troy, this stage elevates the anima to a romantic and aesthetic ideal. She is a muse who inspires art and grand gestures. 3. Asht. Named for the Virgin Mary, this stage spiritualizes the anima. Love becomes a form of religious devotion, pure and spiritual. 4. Sophia asterisk. Named for the Greek goddess of wisdom, this is the highest stage. The anima is now a fully integrated guide to the inner life, connecting a man's conscious mind to the wisdom of the unconscious. On the flip side, the asterisk animus asterisk animus asterisk is a woman's inner man. He represents her capacity for logic, reason, courage, and objective truth. In her dreams, he might appear as a powerful stranger or respected authority figure. Like the anima, the animus is often first met through projection. A woman might be drawn to a man who embodies the qualities she hasn't developed in herself, her unexpressed power, or unspoken opinions. This can lead to her letting the man do the thinking for her, or feeling constantly let down when he doesn't live up to her idealized projection. Jung also outlined 4 stages of animus development. 1. Asterisk, the man of physical power. Asterisk, the animus is an athlete or action hero, representing raw physical power. 2. Asterisk, the man of action or romance, the romantic hero with initiative and the ability to act, but not yet a deep thinker. Ask, the man of the word. Asterisk, the animus as a professor or orator, representing knowledge, reason, and authority. A woman integrating this stage finds her own intellectual voice. 4. Ask, the man as spiritual guide, the highest form where the animus becomes a mediator of profound spiritual truth and meaning. The goal is to stop projecting these figures onto others and integrate their qualities into your own personality. For a man, this means developing a conscious relationship with his own feelings, his eros. For a woman, it means developing her own logic and reason, her logos. This isn't about becoming androgynous. It's about becoming whole by balancing the 2 fundamental energies inside every one of us. So, we've met the main characters on the stage of the psyche, the persona, the shadow, the anima, and the animus. But what's the point of this whole inner drama? What's the plot? For Jung, the ultimate purpose of life is a process he called individuation. Individuation is the journey of becoming an individual, a whole, unified, and unique person. It's the process of becoming your true self by integrating the conscious and unconscious parts of your personality. Jung called it the process of coming to selfhood or self-realization. It's the lifelong quest to answer the ultimate question, who am I? This journey is often seen in two halves. The first half of life is mostly about building a strong ego and a functional persona. We learn society's rules, start a career, build a family, and find our place in the outside world. This is a necessary phase. But around midlife, many people hit a crisis. The goals that once drove them feel empty. The persona feels heavy. There's a sense of meaninglessness, a feeling that something crucial is missing. For Jung, this midlife crisis is a call from the soul. It's the start of the second half of the journey, a turn from the outer world to the inner world. This is when the real work of individuation begins. He called it the wearisome but indispensable business of coming to terms with the unconscious components of the personality. The first step, as we've seen, is confronting the shadow. This takes huge moral courage. It means looking honestly at the parts of ourselves we've rejected. It involves asking tough questions. What qualities in others make me irrationally angry or emotional? What are my blind spots? What do my darkest dreams reveal about me? Shadow work is often done through things like journaling or therapy. The goal is to see the shadow, understand it, and integrate its energy, turning its destructive power into vitality and creativity. The next big task is integrating the anima, or animus. This means taking back our soul projections from other people and realizing that the qualities we're looking for or are tormented by in others are actually parts of ourselves. A man must learn to cultivate his own feelings and intuition. A woman must learn to develop her own inner authority and intellect. This process heals the split between thinking and feeling, leading to more inner balance and authentic relationships. As these opposite parts of the psyche are brought into consciousness and integrated, a new center of personality starts to emerge. This is the ultimate archetype and the goal of the whole process, the self. The self is the archetype of wholeness and unity. It's a center of the psyche that is bigger than the ego. While the ego is the center of our conscious awareness, the self is the center of our total personality, including both the conscious and the unconscious. Jung often saw the self symbolized in dreams and myths by mandalas or circles, which represent completion. The self is the organizing principle of the psyche, the God image within us. The ego doesn't disappear, it just finds its proper role. Instead of being the king of the psyche, the ego becomes the loyal servant of the self, the vehicle through which our total personality can be expressed in the world. Individuation isn't about reaching some perfect static state. It's a lifelong dialogue between the conscious and the unconscious. It's a journey of becoming more and more of who you truly are, and it doesn't lead to isolation but to a deeper connection with the world. As Jung said, individuation does not shut one out from the world but gathers the world to itself. By becoming more truly ourselves, we find our unique place in the human story. Carl Jung's ideas, which were once seen as mystical or strange, have soaked into modern culture, often in ways we don't even realize. His work has left a powerful legacy that continues to shape how we see ourselves and the world. Probably the most visible example of Jung's work is the Myers-Briggs type indicator, MBTI *. Though developed by Isabel Myers and Catherine Briggs, the test is based directly on Jung's theory of psychological types. Jung was the first to identify the two major personality attitudes of extroversion, focused on the outer world, and introversion, focused on the inner world. He then paired these with 4 functions, 2 for making judgments, thinking, and thinking, and 2 for perceiving information, and syncing, intuiting. The MBTI turned these ideas into the famous 16 personality types. like INTJ or ESSP. Reports have claimed it's used by over 80% of Fortune 100 companies for team building, though its scientific validity is often debated. Still, its popularity shows a deep human desire to understand ourselves and how we relate to others. The language of Jungian psychology has also become a huge part of modern self-help and spirituality. The term shadow work, is everywhere on social media and in wellness blogs. The idea of confronting and integrating your dark side has really resonated with people seeking authenticity beyond just positive thinking. While it's sometimes oversimplified, this has introduced millions to the core Jungian idea that to be whole, you have to embrace all parts of yourself, light and dark. Jung's focus on symbols and storytelling has had a massive impact on the arts. His theory of archetypes gives us a powerful lens for understanding literature and film. The hero's journey, made famous by Joseph Campbell, who was heavily influenced by Jung, is now a standard tool for screenwriters. It maps out the archetypal stages of adventure and transformation we see in everything from The Matrix to the Marvel movies. We're drawn to these stories because they play out the timeless, universal drama of the human psyche that Jung described. In psychology itself, while Jung isn't always mainstream, his influence is undeniable. Analytical psychology is still practiced by Jungian analysts worldwide. His holistic approach, which includes the spiritual side of human experience, was an important alternative to more rigid schools of thought. His ideas helped pave the way for humanistic psychology, which also focuses on self-actualization and the search for meaning. Jung gave us a new language to talk about the soul, concepts like introversion, complexes, the shadow, and archetypes are now a part of our cultural vocabulary. He reminded us that the human mind isn't a machine to be fixed, but a mystery to be lived. He taught that our suffering and neuroses aren't just problems to be eliminated, but signals that we've wandered off our true path. As he put it, dreams show us the unvarnished, natural truth and are therefore fitted, as nothing else is, to give us back an attitude that accords with our basic human nature. The journey into Carl Jung's world is really a journey into yourself. It starts with a simple act, turning your attention inward. What recurring dreams have you had? What characters or feelings show up again and again? Jung believed these aren't random. They're personal messages from your own unconscious. Think about the people who annoy you the most, or the ones you deeply admire. What qualities do they have? You might just be looking at a reflection of your own shadow, or your own unlived potential. I want you to think about it. Is there one archetype you feel a connection with? The hero, the caregiver, the trickster? Let me know in the comments below what that archetype means to you. There are no right or wrong answers, only your own experience. And if this journey into the mind has you hooked, subscribe for more deep dives into the ideas that shape our world. We'll be looking at Freud next, so be sure to like this video to let us know you want more. For those ready to start their own journey, I've linked a guide to starting a dream journal in the description. We live in a time that is obsessed with the external. We're measured by our productivity, our social status, our appearance. We're pushed to build the perfect persona and project an image of constant success and happiness. But Jung's timeless wisdom reminds us of a forgotten truth. The most important journey is the one that leads inward. He taught us that the psyche is always trying to find balance and wholeness. Those strange dreams, nagging anxieties, and feelings of emptiness, they aren't signs that we're broken. They are the voice of the self, calling us home. He gave us a map, a guide to the vast and mysterious territory of our own souls. He showed us that inside each of us lies a connection to all of humanity and all of its wisdom. He taught us that to become whole, we must have the courage to face our shadow, embrace our inner opposite, and listen to the quiet guidance of our dreams. He reminded us, in his beautiful words, "Those who look outside, dream. Those who look inside, awaken." The great work of your life isn't to become perfect, but to become complete. It's the sacred and challenging task of discovering and becoming who you truly are. The map is in your hands. The journey awaits.